Welcome back to the Restaurant Technology Guys podcast. I thank everyone out there for joining us. As I say each and every time, I know you guys have got lots of choices. So thank you guys for hanging out with us each week when we post one of these episodes. Today, we are joined by a couple that are going to tell me some really cool and fun stories. I'm excited to hear about them, but I will let them dig into it. Chad, why don't you introduce yourself and then you can introduce your partners to your left. I'm guessing it's to your left. And then we can talk a little bit about what y'all get to do for a living.
Yeah, my name is Chad Coulter, co-founder, and CEO of Biscuit Belly, and my wife Lauren is next to me on your right or left. And yeah, so we've been at this biscuit thing for 4 or 5 years now. Brand developed in 2018, and the first unit opened in 2019. But yeah, we're up to 12 units. We'll be at 15 or so by the end of the year, and looking forward to some growth out of us.
Awesome. Awesome. Lauren, you want to say hi just for our audio listeners so they can at least hear your voice so that they know that it's not going to be Chad taking over everything?
I brand fun. Okay. So your listeners are going to come out of this thinking Chad is smart and that I'm fun. So
Awesome.
I'm Lauren, as he mentioned, and I started the integrator for our team. We run on ERS. And so
What's your official title?
my official title, very official, is Chief Biscuit Eater. So nobody better be coming for my job or I will come at you. But yeah, I just work with our small but mighty team to project manage things through, make sure everybody's got what they need to be successful in their role, get rid of issues, barriers, etc. So yeah, help work out things that Chad doesn't want to do or maybe isn't as skilled with.
I love
Sure.
that. I love that. And I always love when I get a couple on that's built a brand. And for those that are less familiar with EOS, we were on, I don't know, I think year 4 of EOS.
Cool.
Actually, a week and a half from now, I've got my quarterly, July 8th or July 9th, when at the time of this recording. And I also play the role of integrator. So I get to chase our visionary around and tell him what he can and can't do all day.
Yes.
So Chad, I'm guessing you're the visionary and you get the privilege. You get the privilege of getting told, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. Get your hands out of that.
95% of the time.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And sometimes you just do it anyway, even if she tells you not to,
Yep.
I'm sure. Awesome. Awesome. So give me a little bit of the backstory. Talk to me a little bit about where Biscuit Belly came from. I said to you guys pre-recording before I hit the recording button, like I've been watching y'all's brand as you guys have grown and watching where you guys are at. And I'm a fan of what it is that you guys are putting out into the world, not just from a product perspective, but even the messaging. But take me back a little bit, back to 17 or 18 as you guys were developing the concept and going through your paces as to what you guys were going to do.
Yeah, and I'll even take it a step further just to get a little background on that. So Lauren and I are originally from Georgia, grew up about 15 minutes from each other and met in college. So we are both pharmacists by training. So we have taken the usual path of pharmacy to get the heck out of pharmacy.
But at restaurants, because it's easy, right? Running restaurants, a little thing called a pandemic in the middle of it.
People actually want to be at a restaurant. They don't want to be at a pharmacy because they're sick and their insurance doesn't everything. So we moved up to Louisville for a job that I got at a local pharmacy school. We got the entrepreneurial itch in 2011, opened a couple of those painting and drinking studios. We were selling a lot of wine. It wasn't good stuff, but we were selling a lot of it. We looked around the Louisville landscape, and as you probably know, it's all beer and bourbon. And so we decided, hey, it'll be fun to open a wine bar restaurant. So we often kid that the very first night we've ever worked in a restaurant was the night we opened our own. So it was a small plates, tapas style wine bar, had 60 wines by the glass. That opened in 2014. We ended up growing that to 5 units in 3 different states and had always played around with this biscuit idea with our executive chef, who was a small partner in the brand. And in 2018, I told Lauren I wanted to start something else for the 3rd time and got a lot of the visionary kicked in. And she said no a lot and I begged and pleaded. But anyway, I eventually got my way. And by the way, I'm an only child, so I'm used to begging.
In case you were. New question.
Yeah. So anyway, we started Biscuit Belly, started the branding, video, and all that good stuff in 2018. Opened the doors. First location in 2019, and I believe early June, we pro forma'd like 800 to 900,000 a year top line. We were doing at least the first annualized because of COVID, we're going to exceed that. So that first location did very well. We decided, hey, let's do a second one. And there was a Zoe's Kitchen going out of business. And so we were able to flip that for very quickly and very cheap. And obviously the pandemic hit in 2020. We decided, hey, let's franchise this thing. We think I had the unit economics to make that work. We did bring on one business partner from a capital and just strategic standpoint for the wine bar concept in 2016 that helped us grow that. And then he liked what we were doing and wanted to be involved in Biscuit Belly. So he had many years of experience within Papa John's, was there from basically store zero to 3,500 and still with us today, obviously. And yeah, fast forward to today and we're just opened number 12 in Raleigh. And yeah, should have a few more open this year and a couple more for early next.
Love that.
Yeah, and little just tidbit that I like to throw in and tell people are with the wine concept with Luvino, it was very much, let's do this. Okay, what color should we do? And what should we call it? Like, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on this branding and the vision of what we wanted it to look like, and it just rolled. If you come to the first Luvino location, it's still here kicking on Bardstown Road. It's just a very different experience than if you go to the fifth one. And so obviously a lot of learning took place. And Chad does have a really incredible knack at like style and decor and lighting and sure.
What it was office behind
People always that my apology. I'm like, no, it's not. But I think that was one of the big differences with Biscuit Belly is we spent a year developing the menu, developing the name, like what the colors, the branding, and the feeling that we want people to get there. And so it was all very intentional. And I just love having the ability to do that was incredible, I think, for us. It was definitely a leisurely like time instead of it just being rolling with the punches. We need a website.
Yeah, figuring it out as you go. I talk about building the plane on the way down, that kind of thing. Lauren, why biscuits? Talk to me. You talk about your unofficial title of chief biscuit taster or whatever the biscuit eater, chief biscuit eater. So tell me a little bit, where did biscuits come from? Obviously, growing up in the South, that is a staple of almost everyone's home. But up until maybe it feels, unless you were going to a family-run place in a small town, there wasn't a lot of biscuit chains that were focused around the concept of biscuits. So talk to me a little bit about where that came from.
Anybody that's ever run a restaurant knows the craziness that happens during a meal period in a rush. One of our partners, Restaurant Technologies Total Oil Management Solution, is an end-to-end oil management system that delivers, filters, monitors, and recycles your cooking oil, taking one of the jobs that none of your team wants to do and takes it off your hands, allowing your team members to focus on their guest. Control the kitchen chaos with Restaurant Technologies and make your kitchen safer while maximizing your staff's time. The solution can be provided at no upfront costs. If you want to learn more, please check out rti-inc.com or call 888-796-4997.
I agree. Growing up in Georgia, my mom wasn't a big cook, but my best friend when I was a kid, we'd go over and every single morning, her grandma made homemade biscuits and dip that just every morning, rolling. And that was such a special and unique experience. And similarly, where Chad is from, right outside of Athens, you could buy these great biscuits at the corner store, a very gas station type place, but they would just have these banging biscuits. And so early on with Luvino, the wine concept, he was saying, we should do a biscuit place. And I was like, no, like these Louisville people are posh. They are not going to be into these biscuits like we are.
Destroying idea. One day, this one.
She's good at saying no. That's our job. Is if we let the visionaries take over, they'd have 40 different businesses open. None of them making any money. None of them actually doing anything consistently. But they'd be having fun doing it.
It'd be so fun.
Fighting for one of us. So he did start, thinking about it, and I put the kibosh on it. And then we did start seeing places open. We were visiting in Oregon, and I think we went to this place, Pine State Biscuits, and it's so good. And then Holler and Dash, the Cracker Barrel version open. And then we had also just throughout time, like, you know, my family's still in Georgia. We go to Florida to the beach every year, and we thought called the one in Florida, Maple Street. Okay. But now Cracker Barrel.
I was gonna say
But
now. I was like, did they
yeah,
rebrand it? Because it's now Maple Street. There's one up the road.
yep,
There's one up the road
yeah.
from me, and I checked it out. It's a couple months ago. So
And then even in Nashville, a line out the door, our wait on a rainy Tuesday, we were just seeing all these things pop up, and I was like, really? Look, this is the thing. And so, of course, I'm like, of course, you're right. But ever since then, I don't know, it's been a learning experience, and definitely a totally different ballgame than doing the other concept, breakfast versus dinner, not wine versus lots of wine. So just a lot of learning that happened over the last couple of years.
I love that. Chad, can you paint a vision for our listeners that may not have had a chance to experience? What was the vision for what it is? If I'm walking into a Biscuit Belly, walk me through that journey. What does it feel? What does it look like? What is the experience as a consumer? What are you looking for that consumer to walk in and feel, and then as they leave? Because ultimately, I talk about this often on the show, is brands that do it well, they do it with intention. They know what they're trying to get. They're trying to get this feel. They're trying to serve some customer in some way. So talk our listeners through what that looks like for those that haven't had the privilege of going to one of your stores.
Yeah. So I think the original idea was like, we wanted to be a really cool, upbeat, basically Chick-fil-A, like from a service aspect, maybe with a few more cuss words in the music, playing loudly and open on Sundays. So it's like, how do we take this like pop scene versus and good food and good service and kind of like the Chick-fil-A make you feel good inside and put those into one. We have a very bright color scheme. So teal blue, white, bright mustard yellow, coral. So like kind of very southern as far as like a color palette. And then we just wanted a little funk, right? So we have a lot of different textures of tile and again, pops of color, funky light fixtures. The branding and like lighting package and sign package is all evolved to be just really in tune with that. Communal tables at a lot of our restaurants because breakfast is a very communal event, and you get everything from 3, sometimes 4 generations all coming in and getting breakfast together. So that was important. What we wanted to do differently than some of our competitors was add more of that full service approach. So instead of bad word, Maple Street, no, where you have to answer a silly question, which is when you go to order, which is hard for us people with anxiety or introvert. And then you have to go get your own food and your own drinks, and you have to bust your own table, and you have to all this stuff. It's like there's so much friction there. And so how can we have a kind of a fast casual feel with that full service experience? And so that was that. And then this one thing I'm really proud of that we just started to put in all of the restaurant is a viewing window into the prep area. We were not getting credit for scratch made biscuits or a lot of scratch made things that we
Around, right? Maybe.
yeah, fried green tomatoes. Lauren, it takes her like 3 hours to make a batch of fried green
It
tomatoes.
is hard, and they're so good, but it
Yeah.
is hard.
So we weren't getting credit for that. People, which I think was a compliment in a way. They're like, these are just biscuits from a can. And we're like, oh, those are actually pretty good. Maybe they're just used to more bread. I don't know, more like the cat head biscuit where it looked like more of a stone than like a formed biscuit like we do. But we're like, man, how can we tell this story? And so we actually have a group out of Louisville that goes to all the restaurants and does custom murals in the queue line.
Okay.
And then, so you walk in, you're met with really colorful, just scenery and funky lights and tile and whatnot.
And
And
plain.
a lot, yeah, you can tell in the back, I like plants. So you got plants just to add a little life to it and as a little barrier too. And then you're met with merch. So that kind of helps with the experience, a little bit of revenue, but also like people can tinker with things in line. And it makes it feel like a little bit of a shorter experience. And then we have our like little retail theater or restaurant theater, as we call it, with the viewing window. And you get to see people making biscuits from in front of you. And then they'll start to interact with the kids in line. They'll throw flour up on the window and draw a little heart or smiley face or whatever. And so there's that engagement piece that I don't know anywhere else you really get that at any restaurant. Texas Roadhouse has a place where you can see them like grilling steaks, but what are they going to throw like a raw piece of meat on the window and they'll
Yeah.
scare you?
Yeah. Chevy's gives you the little dough balls from tortillas every once in a while. Like my kids, I've got
Okay.
4 kids, so I remember them throwing those at each other in the booth. But to your
Yeah.
point, yeah, still fun stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's just trying to make it, how to make it unique, connect with people, and again, pass the time quickly, and also get that scratch made. Basically, you're seeing the action, literally how the sausage is made. And then by that time, you're like, I'm at the register. Cool. So it's a little bit of taking their mind away from the wait, as well as getting credit for what you're doing. So yeah, that's the experience you get. And I think it's quite enjoyable.
And once you order and fit, you don't have to get up again. And we bring the drinks, we bring the food, and we clean up after you. It is a bit more leveled up experience compared to other fast casual concepts.
Yeah.
Just the only fast casuals, the ordering on counter, and then everything else is pretty much full service, other than like getting refill stuff.
Yeah. And I often talk about that being a hybrid fast casual because it's a higher touch fast casual than your traditional, or they squawk your name over a squawk box, or they put a number up on the wall to get you to get your food, or give you a pager and you're in the middle of a deep conversation. The pager's buzzing at you, or you're at a
Yeah.
business breakfast or something like that.
Call it craft casual, or that's our name.
That's your visionary name. I like it. I like the fact that y'all told me you were EOS, so I can reference the visionary integrator roles all day, every day. You guys talked about this being kind of one of your guys' first forays. You guys had the wine bar, and then you guys went from that to Biscuit Belly. Talk to me about how you guys really, I guess, pivoted through the pandemic, because I think it's always interesting to hear. Y'all started like at the beginning, and then the world completely changed. It's not like you had 20 or 30 years of experience of, okay, we can do takeout this way, we can do drive-through. Just whatever those things are that overnight, even in the South, you had to go to primarily off premise and not on premise, and the vision that you had for the brand had to change almost overnight. Talk through a little bit of how you guys were able to work through that, because it was hard for everybody, but I'm certain on the backside of that, you guys are a better brand because of it and have more of an opportunity to grow and do what you guys need to do.
Oddly enough, it was our wedding anniversary this week. And so we were talking about this very thing and about the COVID years. I would never want to go back. And it's interesting. No, we didn't have 30 years of restaurant experience, but Chad and I were even just talking about how these guys, but he knows and are in networks or small groups with that do have that experience, how literally no one knew what was happening or what to do. And he was like, if they don't know what to do, how am I going to know? A little small business here know what to do.
We're smart people.
Yeah.
You're pharmacists, for
like
gosh
so
sakes, that
go-
decided to start restaurants.
We're not smart. We're pretty intuitive, and we figure things out. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's why CEOs of multi-million dollar businesses are like, I have no idea how to interpret this PPP document.
Yeah. I would say,
Yeah.
and I don't ever want to say that anything good came out of it, but obviously, like everyone, we had to figure out takeout. We didn't, prior to COVID, it was like 1% of our sales would come from takeout. It was so minimal.
We actually didn't offer it.
Yeah,
Funnily.
we straight up discouraged because we're like, we don't have time. We don't want to deal with this. And so it forced us to figure all of that out. And for us, a big biscuit sandwich that has gravy coming down the sides. And when you serve it, it's so beautiful and it's delicious. When you put that thing in a container and send it by God knows who way, like 20 minutes away, it just doesn't have that same feel. And so we had to really figure out how are we going to do this and still do it well. So we did learn all of that quickly. The other thing I would say is that it gave us the capacity. You know what I mean by capacity, like the time and energy and mental space to figure out the franchising thing.
Uh-huh.
Opening our own restaurant is a totally different ballgame than franchising. You have to do totally separate marketing. You have to have legal documents done. And there's just a whole world of work that has to be done related to the franchise process that people underestimate. And so it did give us the capacity, I think, to do that well. And we now, our website, like all of that was developed during that time when we started franchising, it looked incredible. Our I's were dotted, our T's were crossed, and we've had it from a marketing and legal perspective. I'd like to say we had a great product. I think that paid off because they've been able to bring on some franchise partners who know their stuff and are in multiple restaurants in that space. And so if one positive came out of it, I'll give that one.
Well,
Good
we're
one.
better. And part of why I wanted to ask it is Chad just eloquently talked about it, and you've talked about what the experience looks like from the food to the ambiance and then that went away overnight because the food coming in a clamshell doesn't look the same way it looks on a plate.
Yep.
The cool decor and the cool window into the kitchen, which I know is newer, but none of that exists when you're having to serve it off-prem. And you guys know that there are still consumers that won't come and sit, that want your product but won't come and sit. And so being able to serve both of those markets and be able to increase what I like to call four-wall economics to be able to get stuff off-prem, but still deliver it at a high quality with good product, good quality, as well as on-prem, back to what your vision was initially, Chad. I think it's great that while it sucked having to go through it, and any of us that lived through it, it's one of those things like our grandparents or whatever remember D-Day, remember Pearl Harbor. Like this is going to be one of those 9/11 for me. I was explaining to my 8-year-old, she's 9/11, what is 9/11? And I'm like, oh my gosh, she hasn't gotten to that grade in school where 9/11 is a big deal. Is that situation that happened at the end of the day for many generations, even including my kids. I think this pandemic is going to really be a marking point that we'll all, but to your point, Lauren, I think it did change us, but made us better at the end of the day to be able to serve guests the way that they might need to and want to see that. To me about the product and what does the menu look like? I know, but paint a picture. Is it just, Lauren, you talked about a biscuit with gravy. Talk me through again, what is that? What does the menu look like? Everybody can go online and go check it out. But I'd love for you guys to talk about, I don't know, maybe even just throw out what's your favorite menu item and why for our listeners. And we can just talk through what is that product that's your signature product that makes people go, wow, I've got to come back.
So the number one seller, I'll take a step back. The menu as a whole obviously focuses on the biscuit sandwich, gourmet biscuit sandwich. It's usually more of a knife and fork thing you can pick up and eat unless you just want really dirty hand. We also have a variety of like pancake options, of omelets and sandwiches and various things, but it's mainly the biscuit sandwich. And even like our French toast, we make it with our catering with biscuits, like we do these casseroles. So it's obviously the revolving feature there, but I'd say my personal favorites, I'd probably go for the Mama's Boy, which may say a little something about me, but the biscuit sandwich with fried chicken, house-made pimento cheese, and look, to make the proper pimento cheese, we use cream cheese. You got to use cream cheese, not that shredded crap. A little bit, then you got to cream cheese. But yeah.
And one other thing.
Fried green tomatoes. And pickles. So anyway, that's my
That's your
favorite.
go-to. That's your go-to. And I'm certain if we were talking offline, y'all would tell me all of the modifications to the menu that you guys make, because everybody that I've ever known that's worked in restaurants.
We get that as it is. It's so good. I do. Okay, I have two. My first one is the goat, and it's a goat cheese, piece of fried chicken, and pepper jelly. And that's it. It is so good. I'm telling you, it is so good. If you like goat cheese, I tell everybody get it. But then when I'm feeling spicy, I get the fire in your belly, which is, it's got our natural hot sauce, fried chicken, and our pickle. It is so good.
Chips too.
I love it. I love it. Where are you guys at? You guys are talking about growing. I know part of what you guys were hoping to do is share where your guys' growth trajectory and I know you guys are looking for people to carry the brand into different regions. So talk to me about what the rest of 2024 looks like and beyond. What are you guys looking for? What, kind of regions, what kind of franchises are you guys looking for? Talk to me a little bit about what that might look like in your ideal case.
Yeah. So we are just to recap on the states that we're in. We are in Kentucky, Indiana, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia, North Carolina right now. We're going to add South Carolina, two units in South Carolina and an additional one in North Carolina and Charlotte this year. So at 12, we'll be at 15 or so by the end of this year. We're looking mainly in the Southeast. Would love to be in Florida. Would love to expand in Raleigh. We have a franchisee they're the ones opening the two kind of in the greater Charlotte area. We have a joint venture location that's going in Somerville, and then we'll have likely Greenville, South Carolina, as well as a second, maybe a third in Raleigh next year. And then we want to start building out the Atlanta market a little bit too. So looking for partners to help us do that. But yeah, on the franchising side, it's mainly the Southeast. With the right operators, we look more in that Midwest, Texas, near you guys area, maybe even further out west, Arizona, Utah. Zero desire to go on the true West Coast unless a franchisee wants to take it, and we can work with them on that. But yeah, I think this is it's definitely Southern fare. I think that has translated well into other markets. And you look in the Midwest and Michigan, and you see a lot of the kind of ancient concepts. And I think there's definitely a lot of brunch white space out there. You see what some other big brands are doing. So I think it's just partnering with the right people. We're not trying to bring in people that have never owned a business or restaurant before and train them how to do that. We're looking for true multi-unit operators. They're going to have a dedicated operator either at the store level or both several units, like a multi operator that's dedicated to this brand and not trying to be pulled in many directions.
Yeah. And I think, sorry, Lauren, I don't mean to cut you off. I know I've watched the better breakfast concept, or what I like to call the better breakfast concept, continue to expand. There's a lot of people that have been in the space for quite some time. We all know these huge national brands that serve breakfast, but as people are coming out of the pandemic, I think the expectations of an experience for your breakfast is something that everybody's looking for. So I love that you guys are out there. So I apologize. I'll let you continue, Lauren.
And now a word from our sponsors. Growing your business can mean big time logistical questions like, how am I going to keep up with all of these local deliveries? Let Uber Direct offer you a helping hand. With Uber Direct, you can take orders directly from your website, app, or by phone. Then drivers who are part of Uber's courier network will deliver them to your customers' doorsteps. Sound too simple to be true? Check out uberdirect.com to learn more.
I think that one of the learnings we've had over the last couple of years is just from a growth perspective, and what can we handle? Because we are a little team. We have a very tiny team, and we don't have level of people. Two, and then a marketing and a ops and a training. That's it. So what can we have oversight for? But one thing that we didn't know anything about is the catch-22 with franchises for us from a distribution standpoint, like making sure all of the same product is available at different locations. And we're hard pressed to get a distributor to open up a new site with just one location. And so there's this interesting catch-22 about, we want to get out there and want to sell these franchises, but unless people are committing to multiple ones in an area, really.
And it's going to be hard for y'all to keep consistency of the product. And I was just doing an interview earlier this week with somebody that essentially is an accelerator for franchise groups that would come into people like y'all and talk about that. And he said that exact same thing. He said, you know what, if you don't have either a ton of volume, we talked about one of the clients that we do business with, the Cheesecake Factory. They were able to put a store in DC, but that store does $15 million. So they're fine because the distributor knows they're going to have a whole lot of product that when they went from Beverly Hills to DC, they were doing that. When you're in a little bit smaller box with a little bit smaller volume, not that it's bad volume, but it's just, you can't put them in the middle of Maine and have somebody trucking from Louisville up to Maine to go
Yep.
give them the same product. And you lose a lot of control of what it is that you guys are delivering to your consumers.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. And it just ultimately the franchisees pay the cost. It's a headache for us and it takes time and effort and energy to get all that stuff set up. But in the end, the distributor's only going to buy so much at a time because they don't want to sit on a ton of product. And just the freight alone starts to add $10+ a case, depending on where it's going from it too. And then the margins aren't where the franchisee wanted
Yep.
and they're pissed. And then it's just it's a lose.
Yep. No, absolutely. How do people get in touch with y'all and figure out if this is the right brand for them? Because I'm assuming you guys probably, I see the press, we were teasing about it before the show. So I see you guys in the press all the time. So I'm sure you guys are getting lots of inquiries. But how would people learn more about what it is that you guys are doing and figure out if it's the right brand for them to consider moving forward?
Yeah. So we have a great website, just biscuitbellyfranchise.com or our consumer site, biscuitbelly.com. But yeah, the franchising site is the one to go to and submit a lead there. And then we have people that are on the sales side that them until they call back.
Really figure out if it makes sense. Awesome.
Yeah.
Chad and Lauren, thank you guys so much for sharing a bit of your guys' story. It's always a privilege to watch entrepreneurs that just go figure it out. It's so much fun to hear those things. And now I can honestly say that I've had pharmacists or future pharmacists turn restaurateurs. I had a guy that was like, oh yeah, I was an insurance adjuster and then I decided to go into
Yeah.
marketing and then I decided to open a restaurant. I'm like, how do these paths happen? But it's awesome that you guys have not only taken that leap, but have been successful at it. So thank you guys for joining. To our listeners, guys, as I said on the onset, thank you guys for listening and make it a great day.